It floats above the city, silent, massive, impossible to ignore. Not a drone, not a jet.
It's a balloon!
Oh, it's a dirigible!
And somehow you already know the villain's nearby. Of course they have a blimp. But why? How did this odd, old-fashioned aircraft become the go-to symbol for cinematic evil?
I was the best blimp pilot this Navy ever had.
Blimp shot down into Dallas Cowboys Stadium.
You know this ruddy blimp is filled with hydrogen.
And I don't know where this blimp is!
This very moment, the Germans under Count von Zeppelin are experimenting with a dirigible.
Balloon-shaped aircrafts have been around for centuries. Whether it was for entertainment or for a war, the ability for humans to be in the air seeing the world from up above was a fascination for many.
The day of the balloon is behind us. The future belongs to the flying machine.
Modern associations of airships can be traced back to this man, Count Ferdinand von Zeppelin. After early retirement from the army in 1890, Zeppelin became more serious about his pursuits in aircraft technology and the potential importance his work can pose on aviation. So, he created the self-titled Zeppelin dirigible aircraft. Multiple models, in fact, and conducted numerous test flights. Zeppelin remains synonymous with dirigibles to this day. Over time, his airships sparked the interest of the public, but more specifically, the German army. So, to understand the connection between villains and blimps, we need to examine the skies above Britain during World War I. Massive Zeppelin German airships symbolize the height of early 20th century aviation advancement. Unlike airplanes of the time, early installments of Zeppelins were hydrogen-filled machines that could travel long distances with relative comfort and minimal turbulence. This made them ideal for both military reconnaissance and luxury passenger travel. The Zeppelin showcased the German commitment to both precision engineering and practical problem-solving in the airship era. The German military transformed Zeppelins into weapons of war, outfitting them with bombs and machine guns in an effort to strike enemy military installations from the air. However, the technology of the time was still in its infancy. Navigation systems were rudimentary, often relying on visual landmarks that proved unreliable, especially during night raids or in poor weather conditions. As a result, crews frequently became disoriented, missing their intended targets and dropping bombs blindly over unfamiliar terrain. This not only reduced the effectiveness of the attacks, but also caused significant civilian casualties, fueling fear and resentment on the ground. The image of these silent giants looming overhead, unleashing destruction from the skies, planted early seeds in the public's imagination, associating airships with terror, chaos, and an almost supernatural menace, an association that would later echo in villain portrayals in popular culture. For the first time in modern history, war no longer felt distant or confined to the front lines. It had breached the boundaries of the battlefield and entered civilian life. Airship raids brought destruction to city streets, turning once safe neighborhoods into targets. Bombs fell on homes, schools, and shops, places that had previously seemed untouchable. This shift marked a psychological turning point. Governments quickly seized on this fear in their propaganda efforts. In Britain, Zeppelins became a powerful image on recruitment posters, towering, faceless threats looming over helpless cities. The message was clear: join the fight or risk watching your home burn from above. These posters didn't just inform, they provoked emotional responses. Their imagery helped stir patriotic urgency and reinforced a sense of moral clarity. This intrusion of war into everyday life, combined with the emotional manipulation of propaganda, redefined the nature of conflict and helped cement the airship's legacy, shaping how audiences perceive danger and evil on screen. Take the life and death of Colonel Blimp. a 1963 British romantic war film written and directed by Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger. Although the title comes from a satirical comic strip that mocked out-of-touch military figures, the film itself offers a much deeper and more nuanced exploration. It tells the story of a British officer navigating the turbulent changes of war, tradition, and personal identity over several decades. Powell and Pressburger challenged audiences to reflect on the human cost of war and the difficulty of adapting to rapidly changing world. Just as Colonel Blimp embodies an era and mindset on the verge of obsolescence, the Zeppelin represents a bygone technology that inspired both awe and fear during World War I. Hollywood's adoption of the blimp as a visual shorthand for villainy taps into that legacy. By the late 20th century, the villain in a blimp trope had fully taken flight, rising from its historical origins to become a mainstay in popular culture. Filmmakers and storytellers increasingly repurpose blimps as a striking and dramatic setting for villainy, making the airship a reoccurring symbol. This portrayal stands in sharp contrast to the more nuanced use of the blimp in the life and death of Colonel Blimp. While Indiana Jones presents the blimp as a straightforward symbol of evil linked to a recognizable enemy, Colonel Blimp uses it more subtly, reflecting complex cultural anxieties and themes around tradition and change. Together, these portrayals illustrate how the blimp's symbolic meaning has evolved over time. From a subtle representation of complex cultural anxieties in Colonel Blimp, to a bold, action-packed icon of villainy. In Indiana Jones, the Nazi blimp is grounded in a recognizable historical context, drawing on real-world associations. The fear it evokes is tangible. This shift reflects broader changes in storytelling, where historical symbols are reinterpreted to fill the needs of new genres and audiences. And you see this shift continue in 2004's Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. Like Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, the film features airships as clear visual cues for danger and villainy, but taken to a heightened, almost surreal level. In Sky Captain, the skies are dominated by enormous flying machines and hulking dirigibles, all operated by a faceless, enigmatic villain, intent on reshaping or annihilating the world. These airships are not simply vehicles. They are extensions of the villain's ideology, massive floating structures that symbolize omnipresent control and the unstoppable advance of technology used for conquest. In the original Blade Runner, the blimp's voice cuts through the dystopian haze.
The chance to begin again in a golden land of opportunity and adventure.
The blimp appears not as a war machine, but as a sleek, imposing vessel of influence, broadcasting messages meant to manipulate the public. At first it sounds hopeful, even benevolent, but delivered in a slow, emotionless tone over a city drenched in neon shadows and industrial gloom, the message takes on a more sinister edge. The blimp is no longer dropping bombs. It's selling dreams laced with control. It lures people with the promise of escape, but the delivery feels hollow, even threatening. Blade Runner's use of the blimp taps into a deep cultural anxiety about capitalism, surveillance, and the erosion of individual choice. It is no longer just about movement through the air. It is about the movement of ideology. In the modern era, blimps don't always appear alongside traditional villains, but they still carry something inherently imposing, a message. Whether floating above a dystopian skyline or drifting through the background, the blimp remains a symbol of visibility and influence. Nowadays, blimps function more as a floating billboard. Their very presence commands attention.
That blimp scared me.
Much like a modern antagonist, they're not chaotic and unpredictable, but deliberate, persistent, and omnipresent, making them the perfect metaphor for the kind of power that doesn't need to hide. Both accomplish influence psychologically and through an overpowering presence that knows it owns the sky. Whether it's hovering over a battlefield or drifting through a dystopian skyline, the blimp has carried more than just passengers. It's carried meaning. Once a real weapon of fear through bombings, propaganda, and surveillance, it's now a symbol in film of power, control, and spectacle. In modern films, the blimp has become a stage, a floating sign of who's in charge. Whether it's selling dreams in Blade Runner or moving silently behind a villain's plan, it sends the same signal. Watch, obey, don't look away. So, the next time you see a blimp in a movie, look up. The villain's already watching you.